Hello, good morning everyone. I am Charles Villanueva, the third reporter for the Foundation of Curriculum. The topic that we will be discussing today is the historical and legal foundation of curriculum. And our learning objective is that by the end of this presentation, the student will be able to first connect the historical and philosophical implication to the curriculum. Second, define and understand the different philosophical factors to the curriculum. Like any other discipline, education, ergo the curriculum, is a culture. And when I say a culture, it is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievements regarded collectively. Meaning, it was not established in the get-go, neither it is perfect at the start. But with the culmination of the collective experiences and wisdom of our ancestors, we have improved, if not perfectly, but progress is still better than stagnation. As this guy once said, everybody has to start somewhere. In base to Sulweta and Maglaria of 2004, education traces its roots to ancient, medieval, and contemporary periods through the influence of great thinkers of the world. And the main purpose of education is to train, nurture, and develop the general beings of the learners. And the main purpose of education is to train, nurture, and develop the general being of the learners. First, it cannot be denied that education shapes all aspects of human lives because education is for training, nurturing, and developing the general beings of our learners. And education or being educated shapes all aspects of human lives. In a form, it creates a new realm of consciousness of which the person's views and opinions may be inclined to his or her educational background. Second, people are defined and treated by what kind of training did they have or what is usually found before and after their names. For example, the doctors, attorney, or teacher, something like that, like engineer Charles Fernandez. Kidding aside, although education is a right and everybody should have access to it, it also happens to be a privilege to others. It is due to a myriad of reasons that constrains eager individuals to pursue educations. Reasons are, but are not limited to, first, because they are girls, the countries with marginalized population. Second, because they live in a war zones. Of course, how can they attend school if there is war going on? Third, because they have disabilities. And lastly, because their countries are poor, their countries cannot afford affordable or free education to all. These constraints leads to differing views and opinions about the educated. For some, they regard other professions with such esteem, while other professions are treated with an ah or uh, with an ambiguous face. Examples of professions that are highly respected by the public are the doctor, scientist, attorney, and politician, etc. Zulueta and Maglaya of 2004 both have highlighted the different eras of education. The followings are the ancient era and the medieval era. In ancient times, education focuses on teaching values in students such as humility, truthfulness, discipline, self-reliance, and respect for all things in creation. One of the many prominent figures that molded our today's education is Thales of Miletus. He is a mathematician who attempted to explain the universe without relying on God or mythology. Thales or Thales founded the Milesian school of natural philosophy, developed the scientific method, and initiated the first Western Enlightenment. The impact of his philosophical views on education, or more specifically, the scientific advancement, is something that cannot be underestimated. Philosophical views laid the foundation of new possibilities of pure physical or elements rather than supernatural or God. Next on the list is Anaximenes, the one who succeeded Miletus, explained that the world was originating in the context between contraries such as hot and cold and wet and dry. He was also the first astronomer to conceive the sun as a massive mass and, as a result, to grasp how far away it could be from Earth, as well as the first to offer a system in which the celestial body turned at different distances, like the sun in moon, or the earth in the moon, rotating each other in a distance. And next is Pythagoras, a great mathematician who believed that number is the basis of reality because the forms and relation of things can all be explained mathematically. During the period of ancient Greece, Pythagoras was a very prominent educator. He was credited with many mathematical and scientific discoveries, including the Pythagorean theorem, Pythagorean tuning, the five regular solids, the theory of proportions, the sphericity of the Earth, and the identity of the morning and the evening stars of the planet Venus. His impact to our education, scientific community, technological advancement is something that is very much impossible to be erased from history. Next is we have the sophist Protagoras. The sophist Protagoras appeared in the late 5th century BC. They taught practical wisdom and took money for their lessons. The first sophist was Protagoras, who believed that man is the measure of all things. Protagoras is someone who is being paid for their teaching endeavors. Like I said earlier, Protagoras believed that man is the measure of all things. It is commonly interpreted that humans hold the most value. We were created first, so giving us the ultimate value, or giving us the ultimate power in the creations, or the individual human being, rather than a god or an unchanging moral law, is the ultimate source of value. Additionally, like I said earlier, Pythagoras was the first known Greek scholar to make money in higher education, and is renowned for charging exorbitant rates, or in simpler words, his rates is very expensive. If you attend his class, you will have to pay a very large amount of sum. His classes cover topics such as public speaking, literary criticism, citizenship, and grammar. Next is Socrates. Socrates is one of the most renowned persons in human history for his contribution to the development of ancient Greek philosophy, which served as the foundation for all Western philosophy. For this reason, he is regarded as the father of Western philosophy. Remember, he is the father of Western philosophy. His application of the Socratic method, or most known as art of questioning, is one of his most significant contributions to education. The art of questioning foundations all teaching and learning. It is the cornerstone of the teaching activity. It involved questioning. It also enhances our memory, enriching the learning process and understanding, fostering imagination and problem solving, fulfills the feeling of curiosity, and increasing creativity. Next is we have Plato. Plato pioneered a philosophy that includes a theory of knowledge, a theory of conduct, and a theory of the same universe. He posited that the world of ideas resembles a blueprint after which the objects of the physical worlds are fashioned. Plato's idea became the foundation of idealism. His ideas are substance in the sense that they are the ultimate realities of the world. Ideas are everlasting because they exist beyond the confines of space and time. Ideas exist before and are separate from specific things. Next is another philosopher who shaped the ancient era was reality as a random arrangement of atoms. Epicurus, like the other mentioned, is a great philosopher, an author of an ethical philosophy of simple pleasure, friendship, and retirement. He believed that pleasure is the chief goal of life. His views teach that the highest good is to pursue small pleasures in order to achieve a condition of serenity, carelessness, or what's called ataraxia, and lack of bodily discomfort or aponia. Pleasure is the only intrinsically valuable thing, and pain, the opposite of pleasure, i.e., unhappiness, sorrow, or sadness, the only thing that is essentially bad. Next is we have Next is we have the Stoics. When we say Stoics, it is a person who can endure pain or hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. Zeno claimed that the cosmos is ordered and rational, and he believed that humans must discipline themselves to accept their place in the world. And I can only imagine what he meant by that. Zeno, unlike Epicurus, who believed that virtue, not pleasure, was the only good and natural law, not the random serving of atoms. It was the key principle of the universe. And lastly, from our ancient era, we have Pyrophilus. He founded skepticism. Skepticism believes that humans cannot know anything for certain. Skepticism is the belief that some or all human knowledge is impossible, improbable, or simply wrong and not certain. Since even our best methods for learning about the world sometimes fall short of perfect certainty, skeptics argue that it is better to suspend belief than to rely on dubitable products. It is our inclination to doubt or doubting the knowledge claims set forth in various areas. There are a lot of skepticism in the world. There are skepticals, and it is something that will always be there. And now we have the medieval period. Medieval period is known as the Dark Age. Some academics believe that after the Roman Empire fell or collapsed in 500 AD, Europe was plunged into the darkness. The Middle Ages are frequently described as gloomy because of a perceived lack of scientific and cultural progress, and at that time feudalism was the main political system. So, how can a single empire collapse cause such damage that it affects almost the whole world, and most specifically to Europe? Well, that is because although the Roman Empire had been falling apart for hundreds of years, their heritage was unquestioned. The institution and culture of Rome had a deep, enduring impact on the development of language, religion, art, architecture, literature, philosophy, law, and systems of governance throughout the land it covered, much beyond due to the Roman Empire's large influence and long durability. Its collapse causes a major turnaround, but also an opportunity for other powers to rise. Such powers are the Catholic Church. In this period, Christianity became the dominant religion. The chief philosophers of this period were churchmen who taught theology or the study of God. Although the Roman Empire collapsed, it did not do much damage to the church. Rather, it turned into become the major power. The church became the perceiving factor of the classical civilization establishment of monasteries and the dispatch of missionaries to convert the people. And when we say classical civilization, it is the study of the history, culture of the ancient Greece and Romance. Early Christian philosophy began with Augustine of Hippo, Boethius, the Church Fathers, Anselm of Canterbury, Bernard of Clairvaux, Peter Abelard. Next is Augustine of Hippo believed in the eternal ideas of Plato, but the truth comes from God. He taught that the immortality of the human soul can be proven by its possession of eternal truths. Next, we have Boethius. Boethius taught that eternal ideas are inborn ideas that people remember from their previous existence of the soul. And next, Anselm. Anselm used both faith and reason to arrive at the truth. He is most remembered for his proof of the existence of God, derived from Neoplatonism philosophy. Saint Anselm was a major Christian thinker of the 11th century. He is well known in the philosophy for discovering and articulating the so-called ontological argument. Anselm, like Augustine, believed that to know God one must love him. In his epistemological argument, he asserted that reasons may confirm the existence of God based on deduction drawn from what the intellect can comprehend within its boundaries. Next is we have Bernard of Clairvaux. Bernard developed a doctrine of mystical love as the path to truth. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux was one of the great, most dynamic figures of the Middle Ages. He played a pivotal role in the development of the Cistercian order. This order stresses the devotion to humility and rigidity. And next is we have Aberlin. Aberlin's main interest was in logic. He thought that the material world is real. He argued that God in the universe can and should be known via logic as well as via the. He coined the term theology for the religious branch of philosophical tradition. While medieval theologians tried to reconcile the teaching of Christianity with the rational explanations of the world given by Aristotle who were named schoolmen, or scholastics because they were teachers in the university. This is because Christian philosophical thought is more of the material rather than the material. Since the material is easy and probable to be scrutinized by the scientific method, unfortunately faith does not. And lastly, Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas is known as a Doctor Angelicus or Doctor Universalis or the Universal Doctor. He attempted to settle the conflict between faith and reason by showing the reason should deal with facts of nature, but that supernatural truths of revelation must be accepted by faith. That's all. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.